Hello, everyone. Most of you know me by now. I am Sarah Rainey, and I am a victim, just like many of you that are listening to this broadcast. Today, I'm talking about something that is really a little hard for me to talk about because I'm going to be giving you an example of my victim's impact statement. Now, I may have discussed VIS or victim impact statements in another video. But this time, I'm going to really tell you and show you my victim's impact statement. First of all, a victim impact statement, or a VIS, which is commonly called, is a written or oral agreement presented to the court at, the defendant's sentencing, or in some cases, during parole hearings. Now, in my case, the victim's impact statements were not read before the sentencing. In some states, they do. In fact, I come to find out that a lot of the victim's impact statements that were submitted by my son's colleagues and friends disappeared. And this included the victim's impact statement from his fiancée. It happened. But it is an opportunity for victims of crime to describe the emotional, physical, and financial impacts the crime has had on our lives and continues to have in our lives. We have a life sentence. The primary purpose of this statement is to inform the judge, I don't know if he read them or not, or parole board about the extent of harm caused. But let me just say this. Every court system, every jurisdiction is different. And it depends on who is in charge of the court system. If you have an attorney general or an elected DA who cannot enforce victims' rights, then I have to say, then probably it won't happen, because that's what happened in my case. Now, emotional impact. What can I say? Fear, anxiety, depression, PTSD, trauma, shock. And how about security and safety if you lived in that area? I don't. I lived out of state. But imagine not knowing if the man who killed your child is out running the streets. Mine was for almost 2 years. Imagine not knowing that and running into him. The physical impact. For me, my front teeth became loose. My hair turned white. And my arthritis was so severe that the most straightforward act of walking became a task. I couldn't even walk up and down steps. I couldn't even got up and down on the curb without help. Emotionally, the devastation reshaped my life. I was alone. I had no other choice but to keep fighting. And this is what you must do. You must fight like hell to make sure that your child or your loved one gets justice. Financial impact. Now, victims can outline any financial losses incurred due to the crime. This might include medical bills, therapy costs, lost wages, property damage or loss. There is compensation, but again, it's complicated. I turned in my bills where I spent thousands of dollars, and I think I got $476. It's almost an insult. It's almost a waste of time and effort and aggravation when it comes to the paperwork. Overall, the impact on my life. Previously, my life was in education and travel as an author and enrichment speaker on cruise ships. I was also in education, a teacher. Now I found my purpose in educating people about the consequences of drunk driving, doing Victims Impact Panel, commonly called VIPs. And more importantly, helping victims navigate the legal system through my experiences. This may be indeed my true calling. And I know as I tell my story, there's going to be people say, no, that couldn't have happened. But it did. Now, again, a victim's impact statement is a written and oral statement presented to the court. Okay? It is to honor your child. Honor your child. And show what the world is missing, that your child is gone. And what a wonderful person that child was or could have been. What they would have contributed to society. These statements can play a significant role in the sentencing phase of the trial. Now, a victim's impact statement is not just a legal requirement, but it can also be a therapeutic process, which it is in my case today. It can help us find a sense of closure. Now, next thing I'm going to do is very hard for me to do. But to honor my son's accomplishments and to emphasize the tragic loss of promising lives to drunk driving. Lives that could have greatly enriched our world. I am compelled to share this message, even though I struggle with reading. But this is my victim's impact that I read at the sentencing phase. Your son was involved in a car crash, and he did not make it. It wasn't his fault. It was another damn drunk. How has my son, Kenley Rainey's murder impacted me? Today, I do not have a child. Kenley was my only child, and now he is gone. Now I have no one to talk to, confide in, or lean on. For years, he was my only support system, and now I am all alone. As a mother in my 70s, it is terrifying to think about my future. Who will take care of me when I cannot take care of myself? The morning after the police left, I found myself alone, in shock. Unlike in the media, no one is there to comfort you. News videos was already up on the internet. Notifications had to be made, as I did not want his loved ones to find out the true media or through the media, especially with the horrific news coverage. When I viewed the local news coverage of the car, there was nothing left of it. And Marshall, his dog, I understand, he flew 500 feet. My God, what happened to my Kenley? They had to shovel up what was left of the car, and Marshall was put in the trash. Someone called me and said an appendage was hanging out of the vehicle. My God, what happened to my baby? Was that his head? Was he crushed? Currently, I still don't know the answer. To live with this and not know is terrorizing. I gave birth to him. He was my son, my Kenley. When I asked questions, I rarely got answers from the DA's office. If I did, they were vague. Victims continued to be victims in our justice system. I could not fly down, thank God. Carrie and Jason, his friends, were able to. They did offer to view his body, but they were told his license identified him. Carrie, Jason, and the trooper searched the car and crash area for a watch that his fiancée wanted, and Kenley's phone, which I wanted because there was a picture in there of he and I together. The last one taken that Christmas. They could not find anything. Everything was destroyed, including my baby. I got nothing back. It was all cremated with him. I called and wanted a piece of his hair. However, I was told it was too short. I understood that. I understood the coroner was fired. Why was he fired? He didn't have a license. And also, too, he was harvesting and selling baby organs to California and Massachusetts. And I had to fight to get Kenley's remains back. And it has been a struggle ever since. Because of Vietnam, my husband passed on January 26th, 2003. And a drunk driver killed my son on January 25th, 2019. I wanted them to be buried together here in Nevada Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Boulder City. Military funerals also have rules and regulations to contend with. Thanks to Kenley's friends and loved ones who helped me, I will never forget them. They are exceptional, just like him. Kenley had graduated from medical school and was going to practice his passion in emergency medicine. Kenley wanted me to join him when he was settled in his medical practice, and I anxiously depended on this to spend my senior years enjoying what he had accomplished. Now I have nothing to look forward to and nothing to plan on. Also, when Kenley was murdered, I had no hope and my spirit was shattered. I do not want to live in a world without love or hope. And I wish I had been in that car now. I would be with my son, not suffering every day and wondering what I will do in the future. The Vietnam War made me a young widow with no extended family. Kenley and I grew closer and bonded, became best friends, and now I do not have him. I often wonder why I go on when I have lost my reason to live. At 37, Kenley had found his soulmate, and I will never see him get married, or the thrill of holding a grandchild, or watching him grow up and be a family. That night you murdered me, and I am empty shell with no future. Yes, a broken heart. Because of this, I have lost faith in life, and my dreams are gone. I will not see him marry his beautiful fiancée, and my child joyfully be a father. They had actually picked out a name if it was going to be a girl. Heather Elizabeth. Isn't that beautiful? Also, I will not see Kenley enjoy the fruits of his hard work in completing medical school. At the graduation ceremony, he whispered to me across the room, "Thank you, Mom. I love you." And the next day was Mother's Day, my last. And he gave me a card and wrote on it, "Thank you, Mom, for all you do. I would not be where I am at today if it were not for you." I have no identity now. I'm not a mom, and my only child is gone. I feel like a nobody, and my life is empty. Having a child murdered is a horrible event that has taken my soul away. When Kenley was murdered, my life stopped. The police officer announced to me that Kenley didn't make it, and these were words that no mother should have to hear. Why did I? Because of a damn drunk who should have been taking care of his children with the money he was spending on alcohol. But no, he doesn't care about his kids either. I could not kiss him one last time or tell him how much I loved him. and how proud I was to be his mother. I did not have a chance to say goodbye to him. I will never see Kenley again or touch his face or hand. My only memories are his unrecognizable car and photos from this trial. Kenley and I had such plans. He would practice medicine, be there for me as I got older. I enjoyed his stories and sense of humor, pride, and medical victories. His family. When Kenley died, my hope for life died with him. I have no family now. I am alone without my dreams for the future. I am without the love of a child, my baby. Every day I think of him crushed in his car at a lonely rest stop on a cold night. My heart breaks repeatedly. Every day when I look forward toward my future, I can see a dark space with no joy, no light. I will never get past this. My heart will always be shattered, and my life will always be empty. The cruel comments made like crazy. See now, why didn't you have other children? And see now is what I was called by someone in the DA's office. Kenley, to my knowledge, never had a ticket, let alone a DUI. He always drove the speed limit. You would find him, even as a little boy, bringing home animals, and yes, even friends who needed help. Kenley was giving, loving, and sharing. I want you, the damn drunk, and his mother, to know this. Even his next wife wrote this. His ex-wife of 10 years. She was a beautiful person, or is a beautiful person. You will forever be many first in my life. I will love you until the day I die. The words I spoke the day we were married will forever be true. I am the person I am today because of you, being a part of my life for so many years. You taught me that chances are to be taken and not feared. I cannot believe I will never look at your smiling face again. But you will forever be my memories. I also hold you up as a standard to men who come into my life because far as much as I've been asked, you were even more loving and romantic. I will miss you every day for the rest of my life. I love you. Kenley had 4 degrees, summa cum laude, in science and nutrition. He also had a medical degree, and is 1 test shy of a master's degree in geometric medicine, DNA. He loved to cook. Anything outdoors, hiking, camping, mountain climbing. The only things I got back were his mountain climbing ropes. Sailing, marathons, ice hockey, martial arts, swim, basketball, motorcycle, bicycling, and his love for animals. He even took violin lessons for a very short time, but he took them. He loved playing trivia and won nearly every time. I remember he ran 17 miles a day for exercise. So much more. He was loving, kind, and gentle. I am so proud of him and will fight for him. He did the right thing. He was tired. He pulled off the road in the state safe rest area to walk his dog and nap. He did the right thing. Now, these are his words that he wrote in a letter to be interviewed at this hospital that he was heading to for emergency room physician. Emergency medicine is a field I hope to dedicate my career to. Several times in medical school, patients relayed to me profoundly professional information that the attending man who had known the patient for years had not heard. In the few months since graduation in May, I have been volunteering as crisis counselor for Crisis Text Line, a free service that allows people in crisis to text for support. I have also been volunteering as a medical scribe for the St. Petersburg Free Clinic, and I've taken and passed the USMLE Step 3. In addition to these activities, I have been using this time to continue my studies, refreshing topics from preclinical years, and advancing my knowledge of clinical diagnosis and management of patients. I plan on continuing these studies throughout the following year. The gap in my training has allowed me to improve myself in giving back to my community as a clinician in my studies. I will be a better physician when I begin my residency next year. My goal is to excel in residency and help those around me excel. This is my journey to becoming an emergency room physician that will make me stronger, more knowledgeable, and better able to serve my patients in the future. I've taken the long road to get here, and I'm better for it. I cannot wait to see where it goes next. The emergency department is where I feel the most at home. Strangely calm and focused. What seems like chaos, to me, it is a well-coordinated effort by nurses, doctors, and technicians working towards a common goal. I love being a part of the team. Moreover, I love being able to help. It's a privilege to have the knowledge and training to do so. These qualities are what drew me to emergency medicine, and it's these same qualities that I know will continue to drive me throughout my career. As someone who has worn many hats, I finally found the one that fits. I didn't grow up wanting to be a doctor. I barely graduated high school. Even at that time, I realized that I needed a change. Enlisting in the Army gave me a way out, as many of my friends were headed towards the California penal system. I was shipping off the basic training. I did well in the Army, earning the rank of sergeant by the age of 20. I was trained to lead other foot soldiers into combat. The Army instilled in me the maturity and work ethic I lacked. While there was much about the work, I loved the challenge, the accountability, and the camaraderie. I yearned for more autonomy and variety. I returned home to San Jose, California, where I worked as a 911 dispatcher. The work was gratifying. I loved being able to relay CPR instructions over the phone or send help to an officer in trouble. After 3 years, I became the youngest supervisor in a 50-year history of the 70-person dispatch center. Still, I wasn't content, feeling like I was watching from a distance. I wanted to get my hands dirty and try something on my own. For this, I looked to the real estate and started managing investing in properties. Along the way, I created various online business and quick service restaurant. Through these ventures, I found the autonomy and self-direction I had longed for, but at cost. I missed being part of something bigger and positively impacting others. Each of these fields had elements that attracted me to work, but it wasn't until stepping into ER that I felt truly at home. I have always loved being able to help. In a crisis, I found that it's not only taking care of patients. There is something truly sacred about the patient-physician relationship. The ability to sit down with a patient, answer their questions, allay their concerns, and provide comfort to their family members is something that I can take home with me. And at the end of the day, something that I can reflect upon with a feeling of fulfillment. It is a privilege to have the knowledge and ability to serve in this way. Through my rotation clinical experiences, I realized that emergency medicine is not just about resuscitation and risk stratification, but about community. Community means understanding the patient's population and my coworkers and staff. I enjoy the people who appreciate this kind of work and look forward to learning them throughout residency and career. I know that I will succeed in this field and have found it well matched with my personality and interest. I can say that with confidence as someone who has tried other positions and spent more time than most thinking about what I have to offer. I know my strengths and shortcomings and try never to lose sight of how these play into a larger picture. This is the end of the letter that was sent. And I added, after that statement, the man who killed my son never looked up at me. He never looked once at me. He might have been told not to, because I was told not to look at him. I don't know. But I told him, you are not sorry for murdering my son, but sorry that you got caught. If you had been genuinely sorry, you would have not have disappeared for 6 months on your firstborn and 3 months on your second. You have put up your middle finger up at all of us, including your grandmother. I understood she sent a note to the DA's office wanting to be taken off your bond, because she did not know where you were at for 6 months. The law is a joke to you, as it is to most of the drunk drivers who are driving. They know how to get around it. Your son was involved in a car crash and didn't make it. And it wasn't his fault. It was a damn drunk. This is what you are. A damn good-for-nothing drunk, and that's all you ever will be. According to the National Transportation Board, every 70 seconds, somebody is being hurt or killed by a damn drunk driver. Who's next? Who's next? I am Sarah Rainey, proud mother of Dr. Kenley Jean Rainey, who was murdered on January 25th, 2019. Please, if you have a story to tell, please tell us. Thank you.